Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Fichtner's Watch. This is Fichtner's Watch for Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm Brandon T. McClure. With me on this trek through the stars is, I almost called you Mike Patola. I'm sorry, Michael Karls.
I'm not that cool. I am Michael Karls, though, from the Downright Nerdy podcast. Thanks for having me again, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Cookie, I don't know your last name.
Cookie.
The fast first.
He's like Cher.
Yeah, just Cookie usually, but full name is actually, this is a full-time thing. This is brand new. I've never done this before. Cookie, but my real name is Chris Case, but everybody calls me Cookie, so I just kind of ran with Cookie.
There you go. You learned something new on the Fichtner's Watch.
Look at that.
That's exclusive. I mean, for what, years of me being on YouTube and podcasting, like, no one's ever asked me, what's your full real name? I'm like,
really?
Oh, crap.
My God, I'm my jaw's dropping right now. I kind of feel like the cast of Seinfeld when they found out Kramer's first name was Cosmo. You know, it's like it took 4 seasons.
Whoa.
Well, this is your first time on our channel. This is Fichtner's Watch channel, part of the Fichtner Podcast Family Podcast. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, it's awesome to be here.
We're talking about episode 2 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Kayshon, his eyes open. So, what do we think about this episode?
I thought it was. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go because
I
started talking. I thought it was fine. I loved. So earlier in the previous episode with me and Brandon, we talked about what you thought that Riker was going to have a little bit of a larger role in the show, and I think that this is a way to get him off. I think this is just going to be now a Boimler is coming back because you obviously see the throwback to TNG episodes in this series, in this episode, but you see the other Boimler going back to the crew, which I liked. I didn't mind it. I thought it was a fine episode. Still didn't make me hate it, didn't make me love it anymore either. Mm-hmm. But still excited to see this third episode whenever it comes out next week.
Cookie, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I've actually loved this series so far. I wouldn't say I'm a massive Star Trek fan like both of you guys, but I've watched everything except for the animated stuff, and I've watched some of them multiple times. So I'm a huge fan in that retrospect, but as far as remembering a lot of things, it's hard to remember certain episodes. It's like, oh, this goes to this goes to that. But overall, it really does scream Star Trek for me, and I enjoy it from beginning to end. I think it's hilarious. I love how they are pushing the boundaries on what Star Trek is and really kind of diving into an adult Star Trek, not like your parents' Star Trek, but more of like a modern Star Trek. So I think it's really cool. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I like this episode. I like this episode a lot, actually. I was surprised. This one is the one where, as Cookie, you just said, there's the, Mike and I, we know a lot about Star Trek. We've just retained all this knowledge for whatever reason. This is the one where I really, it really tested me. Because the main crux of this episode is that they go to this collector ship, and this person has a whole thing. And I recalled obviously they make the callback that this is the same type of people who stole data in Next Generation, but his ship has so many Easter eggs from across all the shows that I didn't catch any of them. And even watching, even at the end when they there's a person on Twitter who said, here's where all these references are from. They were all a lot of them went over my head.
I don't know if I saw that exact same thing, but I did see a video of all the Easter eggs, and I'm proud to say I knew about 75% of them. It reminded me, and I could pinpoint exactly where, maybe not season / episode, but I remember those visuals in my head.
Mm-hmm. There's the when they go into I remembered the Abraham Lincoln. When we see that from the TOS, I saw that. But then there was this giant Spock skeleton. I was like, what the hell is that? Apparently it's from a TAS episode, the original animated series. I never saw that show, so that one went completely over my head.
I sense another fake nerd watch then coming up.
You're not going to get me to watch that show. I'm sorry.
As bad as people make it out to be?
Sure.
I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I saw the triple episode because it was part of a DVD set I had back in the day. And it's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's really really hard to watch.
Yeah, the animation does not hold up.
No.
I know you guys talked about this in the last episode. Sorry, I wasn't there to actually make it, but I did listen to it. And you guys, I think it was Mike, you referred to Orville, and I thought that was a really good call into Star Trek, especially with Seth MacFarlane being part of Star Trek back in his youth, and then now he's taking a twist on it and he's making it into Orville. And then I think this show really encompasses Star Trek as a whole. And the Easter egg, I probably caught maybe 2 Easter eggs out of everything, and I still enjoyed it. I still loved it for, I guess, face value of what it was. I enjoyed the crap out of it. And I thought it was a really good episode. Very much like you, Brandon. You were saying how Riker, you didn't want him to become the main focal point because he's not a lower deck person. He's a bridge guy. He's number 1, and it's like seeing that transition. It's like getting away from that. I think that was a really good move on, I guess, this like the series as a whole. It's a really good move to kind of get away from that and get back to the normality of what the show's about.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the things I want to talk a little bit. I want to say one more thing about the references, all the Easter eggs and references. I never find that the show bogs it down too much with Easter egg and references. That so much so that it gets to be to the point where where that's what the show is. Like even if you don't get the Easter eggs and references, you still enjoy the show. You don't miss out on anything, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, to lightweight agree / counter that. I mean, I agree with you, but to counter that, I mean, there are Easter eggs, I think, in every episode that they do put a lot of Easter eggs in this show, but it doesn't detract. They don't make it a focal point. It doesn't detract from any of the stories. You know what I mean? And the way that they do it is so fun and unique that it makes it a part of the story when it does become a big thing. Like for example, we get the new security officer who was the same race as the captain that Picard was stranded on the planet with, right?
Darmok.
And Darmok, yeah, exactly. And you get the Easter eggs of him trying to talk, with the universal translator not fully functioning, you know what I mean? And I mean, it's just like that is technically an Easter egg, I think, and it made it so much more fun. Like it's not just like, oh yeah, there's a whatever his race is, or species, walking by in the background. It's just it's a little bit better, makes it more fun.
So there's so there's 3 plots in this episode. There's the A plot, which is Mariner and her crew on the collector ship. There's Captain Freeman, who is really upset that Starfleet said that she micromanages, which I love.
Yeah.
See, this is why I don't trust anybody when she comes back. He's a toy.
Yeah.
And then there's the Titan. And one of the things I really like about the contrast with the Titan that I wasn't sure I was going to like when we first were introduced to the Titan. So it's got the gray and black uniforms, whereas we in the lower decks people are wearing a new Starfleet uniform. I wasn't sure how I was going to be okay with the idea of having those 2 uniforms, but having them contrast between not just the plots, but also the styles of Star Trek that Mike McMahon is playing with. The idea that here's the action-packed, serialized adventure Star Trek that you got with DS9, that you get with the movies. This is that Star Trek. And then here's Lower Decks, where it's more early TNG, TOS. This is what the weird space shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they contrast the 2 visually and as well as story-wise.
Yeah, I loved it too. Cookie, I'll let you talk because I've been talking too much. But yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you. I think it's a really cool concept to differentiate between the 2, and even ranking. It differentiates between being a first ship contact and a second ship contact.
Yeah.
And for I'm explaining it to my wife, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm loving this show. It's so awesome. It's hilarious." She's like, "Well, I know you like Star Trek." She's like, "So what's it about?" I'm like, "Well, you have this ship, and you always hear about the crew, and it's just the normal crew that you hear about. You never hear about anything else below, because a ship's made up 1,000 people or whatever, and there's so many different people you never hear about. So, that clothing definitely it separates heavily on that. And I was explaining to her like how like red represents this part of the crew, yellow represents like security, blue represents like medical, like all these different things. Like I'm explaining it to her, and she's just like, okay, that's nice, cool, yeah, whatever. And then I started watching Discovery, and I noticed the same thing with the discoloration between the two. I don't want to get too heavily into a different show, but like when you're seeing that type of uniform on there, it's completely different than what you're used to on TOS, and it's cool. I enjoyed it.
I want to ask you guys, because you brought up Discovery. I don't mind. I personally don't mind to tangent a little bit. I want to ask you, because we haven't talked about it. Who's seen Discovery season 3? Cookie, have you?
Okay, where am I right now?
Are you in season 3?
I don't know. I just got Spock is now healed.
Oh, you're in season 2. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're back.
Sorry. I'm trying to catch up.
Then Mike, what do you think of the uniforms in season 3?
I don't mind them. You know, I mean, everything is just very every Star Trek has its own uniqueness to it, right? I prefer TNG, Voyager, and DS9. Those are my favorite ones. Actually, to be honest, I think DS9 are my favorite ones out of all of them.
Yeah.
The gray and blacks.
The gray and blacks, just like we saw today. Those are my favorite ones. I do love how Picard is the only one that got the jacket. You know, I thought that was really, really cool. My least favorite are probably the
Enterprise.
No, actually, I don't mind Enterprises.
I don't mind Enterprises uniforms now.
I don't mind them at all. It actually kind of reminds me of, people like construction worker type, because it's a real like old type of ship, kind of thing. What probably my least favorite is the the Chris Pine series, Kirk's and all, and Spock's and all that, like the movies.
The movies, yeah.
Which the first 2 movies or the third one?
All 3. I didn't like all 3.
Really, I like the third. Third movie uniforms I like a lot because they changed them, and I think
they made it like this, and then like a V ish, like small V, like right here, right?
So, yeah, the I agree with you with the first 2 movies because they have all these little deltas in their pattern.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Yeah.
So my least favorite uniforms are Discovery season 3 uniforms. I think they're ugly, and I think I was concerned watching that season that the costume director of that franchise had lost their mind.
That bad?
I was legitimately concerned. I was like, "Are you insane? These are disgusting."
Although I gotta say, there is probably something to be said about season 1 TNG with the onesies. I kind of like those.
Oh, I don't like those at all.
Always.
Yeah, no, they're pretty bad. I liked them on Deanna Troi and
sure you
did.
And
sure
Deanna
you did.
Troi, and then I also really liked it on Deanna Troi.
Yeah, of course you did.
Especially those 80s exercises. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Oh Lord,
Anyway.
that was hilarious.
Anyway, I'm ending the tangent. All right. One of the things so we see we hear about this all throughout Star Trek. Every Star Trek, we're like, go take a sonic shower. Go take a sonic shower. We finally see a sonic shower, a communal sonic shower. I have questions.
Which I'm actually a little upset about because, I mean, I pay good money for Paramount Plus. I don't want them to block anything out. They blurred out a lot.
I don't need to see cartoon parts.
I just think it would just add to the hilarity that this show is because everything is so out there, I get it, but it's still
they also bleep out all the curse words.
They do.
Curse, yeah. Which I think it's far funnier.
Well, they say like the S word, they say damn, they say, but they don't say other yeah, they do. They do like the F bombs are bleated out.
Yeah, which was always so strange to me because Discovery doesn't bleep them out. They'll say the F bomb on Discovery, but on Lower Decks, no. Anyway, so the sonic showers. 1, why are there communal sonic showers? 2, why are you scrubbing anything?
Yeah, wouldn't it just be like
it's just coming off
like
you?
a TSA thing, where you just go in, you go like this, Yeah,
if it's just coming off you, why are you doing some scrubbing?
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't come off all the way. They are a smaller ship. It's not like they're on the Titan,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the communal showers. I mean, I think that, I mean, you see a lot of that type of communal type of areas in future stuff, like in Starship Troopers, they all showered together, right? It's like, I mean, I think at that point, you know, people they're thinking, their line of thinking is way into the future. You know, guys and girls may be more mature, and you know that kind of like other stuff doesn't happen like it would today, or you know, 50 years ago or whatever. Maybe that's that's the only thing that I can think of.
It's not so much the gender disparity of the communal shower. It's just I have the same issue we talked about when we talked about Picard, where it's like, if resources aren't an issue,
wouldn't everybody have a communal shower in their bunk?
Why wouldn't everybody just have a shower?
But then again, we do see them like they live in bunks. They don't have their own rooms.
I mean, I questioned that also in the first season where they made the decision, and it's a decision to have them all in bunks, whereas the Enterprise D, for example, we saw them; they all had their own quarters.
But I like that. It shows the like what Cookie was saying, the differences between a Galaxy class starship that goes on first contact missions and a much smaller second contact type of vessel that may need more room for practical things, as opposed to cruise quarters or anything like that.
That's true. I've grown accustomed to it, but when I first saw it, I was curious, like if everyone's got everything, why are we doing the bunk thing? But it doesn't matter.
Well, if you think about it, Discovery, not to go back to it, but Discovery, they have like somebody in there. There's usually like another roommate that they have. So maybe it's just multiple roommates, I guess. And like you said, it's just a smaller ship. I thought it was a cool concept though. And I think with the showers, it reminded me of Enterprise, when like they would come back and they had to like put some gel on each other. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So I guess it's like a little bit of an upgrade.
Did you guys hear what the reasoning behind the decontamination room in Enterprise was?
I didn't.
Brandon Braga, the wonderful Brandon Braga, was like, this needs to be sexy Trek. We need excuses to get them in their underwear. And so they were like, I guess we'll just have a scene where they just have to rub lotion on themselves every episode.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that Vulcan, I swear is. I mean, she is a bit. Yeah, T'Pol. She's a like. If you had to put T'Pol and Deanna Troi in a room in a decon chamber, I guess, I don't know. My mind would just.
You're the worst.
I don't know. I am pretty.
You're the worst.
You would need a sonic shower after that one.
All right. Anyway. Okay, so what do we think of? So I think truthfully, I like Mariner a lot. Mariner's my favorite character in the show, as we've discussed in the previous episode. But I really liked the Boimler plot of this episode. I thought that was a lot of fun, with Boimler completely out of his element.
Well, I think that was the most. I mean, you did say that the Mariner plot is the A plot, I think, but I almost disagree. I think the Boimler plot is the A thing, is a storyline going, because he's the one that's coming back to join the rest of the party. And with Boimler, it like the overall the scene by scene is very reminiscent of the TNG episode, but I mean it really shows the disparities between the two different types of crews, and what you as Boimler joined Starfleet for, right?
Yeah.
He didn't join Starfleet to. I mean, he looked up to people like Riker, but sometimes you don't understand what it means to be that person until you're in that person's shoes or under their command. So once he found that out, I think he had that like character changing revelation where he's like, you know what, I'm really happy where I was at before, and I think that's more important over the course of the entire season than the other two plot lines that were going on. Just me personally.
Yeah, I mean, the A, B, and C plot lines are named after when they arrive in the story. But I do. I agree.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah, but I do agree with you that I think the more interesting plot, the kind of the one more that was most invented and the most important, was the Boimler plot line. Cookie, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say for me, I think it's Mariner, just because there's so much dynamic with her, not only with her mother being the captain, but and her father being an admiral, it's like you're this little like low life in the ship on a low life ship in like the giant cosmos. And I think that her development as it continues on, I think it's really, really cool, especially from season 1 to season 2. I think she's grown a lot. I do love Boimler though. I think Boimler is a huge underdog. And towards the end of the episode, like it breaks your heart when he's like, he finally makes it to the ship he wants to be in, and it's not what he expected it to be.
Yeah.
And now he's has this ultimatum of, okay, do I go back or do I stay? And of course, like unfortunately, he makes a mistake of leaving. He's like, oh crap, like I didn't want to really leave. I really wanted to stay. But I think deep down inside, he wants to be back on a ship of exploration rather than constant like violence and heartache.
Yeah, I think that really one of the things I really like about that plot line is when he talks about like, I like the, it's what we talked about last week where it's like I like the more weird sci-fi exploration stuff. I don't want to do this big action sci-fi set pieces. And I think it was a really fun cop out to reintroduce the idea of transporter cloning with William Boimler to stay on the Titan. I thought that was really fun.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it makes for really creative storytelling for the future, right? Because then you can show like the path not taken, right, for him. Like everything that he does as Boimler, yes, that'll be on the Cerritos crew. But if he were to make those other changes, and take more risks, he would be on the Titan crew, right? And that's when we're going to be able to see him. I think we're eventually going to see a Captain William Boimler later on, and he'll have to kind of do that, play that dance. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at all.
That'd be fun. The idea that like I was thinking about this episode about this when they kept talking about Thomas Riker. I was like, man, what happened to Thomas? He joined the Maquis and they disappeared.
Yeah.
I thought he got arrested. Hold on a sec.
Okay, you got to go to memory beta for that one, man.
Yeah.
While you're
it's
looking,
not going to be on memory alpha.
It also reminded me as well of like Data and Lore, where like you have that exploration of or the ability to do storytelling on Data's life, which is the regular Boimler, and then now you have William Boimler, and you're having that possible alter ego where he's been so hardened by war and by like constant action.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
All right. Feeling abandoned by Starfleet, Thomas joined the Bajoran Ascendancy, although he secretly worked as a double agent for Starfleet. By 2399, he was commanding officer of the USS Opaka and was killed on Christmas Day of the same year after failing to kill Kai Weiyun 5.
Oh.
Yeah. So Weiyun got the best of Thomas Riker.
Wait.
Weiyun number 5.
2390. Wait, Kai Weiyun number 5?
So that's from Deep Space Nine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Deep Space Nine in that sentence right there.
it's all DS9.
Yeah,
right?
It's all DS9, yeah.
Yeah. I love Deep Space Nine. I should watch the show again. Anyway, I really liked the scene where Boimler like decides to do the transporter accident thing, but it doesn't clone his the other members of the away team. And then when he's being beamed out of the rubble, he's just screaming in the transporter beam. I just thought that was really funny.
That would have been great.
Do
you think they could have ended it where he is now trapped in there? They could have actually prolonged this into like another episode where he's now the ghost. I forgot what that was. I think it was on Enterprise as well. It's probably on all of them. I think it's been Enterprise and been on TNG where you're now a ghost and you're trying to get back to reality.
Oh yeah. I do remember something like that.
There's a time when Geordi and
Ro.
Yeah, Ro Laren. They became a ghost.
Well, that was because when they transported, there was an explosion of the cloaking phase.
The tachyon cloaking device. Or something like,
because it allowed the Romulan ship to phase also.
So they were there. They were just on a different plane of phase, a different plane of kind of existence during phasing, I guess. I don't know.
Like the Pegasus.
Kind of, yeah.
This is the nerdiest Fake Nerds watch series ever.
Yeah. You know what would they could have also done too. They could have done something like they did with Scotty, where when they found the Dyson sphere.
Oh, when he's stuck in the transporter buffer.
Yes.
No, he didn't. He didn't get stuck. He
put himself in
he
there.
purposely repeated the transport to go to continuously like cycle until someone pulled him out. So yeah.
That was a cool episode. I like that.
I love that episode. The whole concept of a Dyson sphere is just fascinating to me. And that's what Lower Decks could be about. All these like obscure things like they that the subplot for the Dyson sphere was Scotty and bringing him and having him help the new Enterprise crew. But I mean, it'd be so cool to see a Lower Decks episode where they actually explore the actual Dyson sphere and find a bunch of weird crap.
Yeah, sure. I think that's what the potential of Lower Decks. One of the things I really like it is that it can go through. It can do what I thought Picard should have been doing, which is going through the next gen types shows and revisiting characters and elements and things that we've just left behind because of the episodic nature of those shows.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They went a different way.
And they jury's out if it's still a good decision or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid episode. I really like. I love the idea that they're continuing the idea that the Packlids are becoming a really major threat for the for the Federation. I thought that was a really cool surprise. I love all the references. There's the Gorn. There's even a Discovery reference because there's the Gorn skeleton from Discovery.
Yeah. So when we could talk about that, like that whole subplot with Mariner is that she and her crew is trying to make sure that all of the collectors, there's a collector that died, and they want to make sure that there's nothing like dangerous in there or whatever. So they're like doing their scans and all that. And there's a what do you call it? I guess a kind of conflict between Mariner and the new guy.
It's a new Lower Decks dude.
Yeah. Boimler replacement kind of guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's obviously a loose cannon, but this guy is very like almost Data-esque, where he just by the book kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they go through and I can't remember exactly like what happened exactly that got them lightweight the main collector tried to steal Kalis's sex helmet. Right? Yeah. Because that's a thing, and I kind of feel like I should get one now.
Don't do that, man.
You already have a bat lift, man. You already have a bat lift. Just get
I know. I mean, I honestly think. I mean, if Riley wasn't ecstatic enough to marry me, I don't know what. I think this would just push her over the edge, right?
She'll be like, definitely.
Definitely. I think I should wear that on the wedding.
You're gonna elope. Just call it a day.
Yeah,
I'll be like, Star Trek.
We're ready.
We were looking at there's Star Trek ceremonies in Vegas.
They absolutely are. Yeah. I know.
You can do that with Kalis's sex helmet.
Remind me later. I have to show you my pictures from my my wedding, because we did. I know it's a Star Trek, but we also did Star Wars theme. So.
Oh, nice. No way! That's
awesome. We did a Star Wars theme for mine.
Thanks for the invite, but yeah.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Sorry. A few years back. I will say with Mariner, the fact that she was so hesitant to accept this new guy in, and then once you get to the end, you're like, she really accepts him. She's at a loss for, like, she's hopeless at this point, because now you're having these vacuum cleaners pretty much try to attack him and kill him, and they're like, we've done everything we possibly can do. They're butting heads, and it's like, we haven't done everything. We haven't actually asked the rest of the team what they think is best. And I thought that was really cool, coming to reality, coming to like her mom's shoes, if you will, and becoming like a captain. Stepping back, letting the team do her thing.
Well, it's funny because there's two different. I'm sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
No. I'd rather you talk.
So it's funny, like, because between Mariner and her mom, they're having almost the opposite problems, right? Yes. Mariner doesn't like to work with people, and the captain just wants to micromanage everybody. Like Mariner and the new guy, they're essentially the theme is there's no I in team. You know what I mean? You got to utilize the tools that are around you. Whereas, the mom is just like, okay, what is everybody doing? I want to, damn near, I want a spreadsheet. You need to check in every 15 minutes, tell me what's going on. And she lets her guard down. It's just trying to find that balance is the key for both of them, that they're both trying to battle, which is really funny. And, it just kind of shows like, it runs in the family, whether it's from, whichever end of the spectrum they're both at.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I really like the idea that Mariner is growing into a more commanding officer, because she's the most badass Starfleet officer that's ever badassed. But one thing is she's really reckless and she doesn't listen to anybody else. And so her growing into this idea that she can still be this kind of reckless Riker-esque captain. But what makes Riker such a good captain is that he listens to his people. He listens
Absolutely.
to his crew. And so she's kind of growing in that way. And I really appreciate that instead of going a more episodic-like approach to character development on the show, they decided to serialize the character development. We see Mariner's growth from the first episode to now, and we continue it on to eventually she'll probably make a pretty damn good captain.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the writing is fantastic. When you really break down like what we're doing now, when you break down a simple episode and you're now getting 3-4 plus plot lines in one episode, you got to take your hat off to these writers, because it's not easy to write Star Trek as a whole. No. Just to write a script for Star Trek, and the amount of terminology that you have to go and use, and the amount of fans that you really have to go and service, and also cater to new people. It's not an easy feat. So I definitely tip my hat off to these writers, and that's why I love this episode. I think it's so well written that there's so much dynamic in it, and you can't help but enjoy it.
I agree. Who's the bird dude in the beginning of the episode?
That's the therapist.
Yes.
Oh, the Cerritos therapist?
Yeah, that's Mariner's therapist. Like that's the counselor, I guess you would call him.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of the birds and the Dr. Cat.
Right?
I don't know.
I like the Dr. Cat more this season.
I know you do. I don't know why. I just can't get it in my head. I don't know.
She's not in it that much.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. She's in it.
I like the idea of bringing back that species, and making her kind of a more McCoy-esque character. I think is fun. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think I got everything I wanted to say. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
Wanted to ask this: how did you guys feel once Boimler came back and Mariner was like, "Oh, screw you, dude, new guy, you're out of here. Like, just get out of here, go."
Well, just show she didn't learn. I mean, she's excited to see have her friend back, the friend that lightweight betrayed her, and she's going to make him pay for it. You can tell, like in the next couple of episodes, but like it's still about I and not about team yet. I mean, granted, maybe that was the whole point of this, but what I would like to see is that character that she finally bonded with at the end. If that character becomes a recurring character and he kind of sticks it to Mariner, saying like, "Hey, you just push me to the side," kind of thing. And I want him to be a part of that group. I want the 4 to be 5, and sure. I want to see everything start to grow until finally she has the respect and admiration from the entire crew and takes over her mom's
that'd be cool.
Mom's chair.
I think there's going to be an episode where the lower decks crew has to take command of the ship.
Oh, there has to be.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think that I think you're right, Mike. I think it shows that it's baby steps. Mariner does grow, but she doesn't grow as fast as she probably should be.
Do you think there's a little love? I wouldn't say love triangle, but there's a little bit of spark between a few characters here. Like I think Boimler definitely has something hidden behind those eyes that he's attracted to. I don't know. Am I jumping the gun here? Yeah, I think I'm jumping the gun, but do you guys see that at all? And then I forgot the green girl's name.
It's so hard sometimes because I mean they have to intentionally animate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm gonna quickly jump to another Star franchise with Stargate. I don't know if you guys ever saw Stargate Atlantis.
Yes.
Okay, great show. Yeah. In Stargate Atlantis, they weren't quite sure if they were going to pair off the doctor, Jewel State, when she shows up, with the Canadian scientist or with Ronan, who was Aquaman, Jesus.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. So every time so different writers would write that as like different love stories, and it felt very conflicting. I wonder if that's a similar case where they're not sure in the writer's room if they want Boimler to have feelings for Mariner, or if the feelings are supposed to be mutual, or if they're not supposed to be there at all.
Well, let's play devil's advocate. If they did have some type of relationship moving forward, how would you want to see that?
Truthfully, I don't think I would. I'd much rather. I know they kind of keep writing it out of it, but I think there's more there with Tendi and Rutherford than there is.
Yeah,
with
I think that will eventually come to pass, or come to fruition. But I think that if Mariner and Boimler were to do it, it would have to be something where both storylines would have to, completely intertwine, almost to the sense to the same effect that that Worf had with
Jadzia.
Yeah, Jadzia, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Worf and Jadzia with Boimler and Mariner that feel very similar.
Right.
Yeah, I love that plot line.
A little too soon, man. Whew. Aren't you going to bring up the waterworks?
It's in 20 years.
That was a good relationship, man.
I still want to see Ezra.
But you know what's funny? I still loved what happened, because when they killed Jadzia, I'm like, how are they going to replace her with Ezra? And I love that dynamic with Worf and Ezra in those like that first half of that season, because it's so different and it's so bizarre. You know what I mean? It's like they're really able to put the audience into Worf's shoes very well, and it's like, wow. I mean, and also Ezra's too. Like, hey, this is, I remember you, but not really, and
right, it's different.
It's weird, bizarre.
It's different feelings,
Mm-hmm.
It's because they have to walk the line, being like, this is the same person, but it's not the same person.
Well, it's the same person, just adding another person, right? So it's like, when you add that other person, it completely changes the, I guess, polarity of all the different minds inside of her, thoughts and memories, right? It's not like Emperor Palpatine going into a brand new body and still being Emperor Palpatine. You know what I mean?
That's too soon. Cookie, get through Star Trek Discovery. We need to talk.
Yeah,
I've been trying to kill it out. I enjoy it too. I love anything Star Trek for the most part. So hopefully,
and you're in my favorite season. I like Discovery a lot. I like Discovery season 2 a lot.
I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who hasn't seen it, but it's really, really enjoyable for me, at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think we have much else to get through. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Excited for next episode. What's the next episode titled? I will tell you in about 5 seconds.
4.
Or maybe I'll tell you quicker.
It is not titled. It is not titled. So cool.
They do it like the Marvel formula. We don't know what the titles are until the episode drops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this. Hopefully our schedules will align again next week to be able to do episode 3. And then just, 7 more episodes after that. All right. Why don't you guys plug your stuff?
Mike, go ahead.
Cool. I'm Mike from the Downright Nerdy podcast. We do a monthly now. Me and Riley we're going to start doing a monthly show with just the two of us, but you can also catch me on Downright Annoyed with Movies. By the time this airs, and by the time you're listening to this, we should have already have recorded our last episode where we talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Last Action Hero from 1993. So yeah, be sure to check us out down in my it'll be on my channel. So check us out, and we'll let you know what the next movie is.
I love that movie.
It's every kid's dream.
Cookie, why don't you
go? Cookie from Just Little Podcast, a weekly pop culture podcast. Basically, it comes out every single Tuesday. I have a show with Mike as well. We do the Downright Movies, which is a blast. I do Silver Age Sundays, where I talk comics with a bunch of great guys. That's about me. And you can kind of find me on YouTube, find me on Instagram, Just Little Podcast, on Twitter, just podcasting, normal stuff. So yeah, I'm everywhere.
Awesome. And now, if you don't mind, I'll have to plug my shit. All right. So this is the Fake Nerds Watch series of Star Trek Lower Decks. There are other Fake Nerds Watch series currently airing. We are going through Marvel Studios' What If, the new animated series from Marvel Studios. We just put up the first 2 episodes on this channel now, so make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel, go to the Fake Nerds Watch playlist, and there it is. The first 2 episodes. What if Peggy Carter became Captain America? No, became the first Avenger, and what if T'Challa became a Star-Lord. Those are the two up now. That episode was really good.
I like the first one better.
Oh, you
I'm
get
that
out.
guy.
You get
Nope.
out.
Nope, sorry.
What?
I love Chadwick. Don't get me wrong. Okay, come on, don't tell me.
It's not
I'm
about
saying that.
Chadwick. It's about writing, Mike. It was
Yeah, I know
about
exactly,
writing.
and it's
The
just
second episode was
better
better.
written.
Oh, Mike.
I have a crush on Peggy, so I can understand where you're coming from.
I do too.
So if we had Peggy, T'Pol, and Deanna Troy,
don't do that. Don't do that. This isn't that kind of podcast, man. You got to pay extra for that.
yeah,
That's the after hour show.
Go to the Fichtner podcast OnlyFans. No. Anyway, so you can check out that. So it's What If. We're going to be doing every episode of What If. We're not quite sure we're going to be doing it bi-monthly. I don't know how it is. Or weekly. We'll kind of play it by ear. But this show will continue weekly as we can coordinate schedules for Lower Decks. There's also Basement Arcade, which there's a new episode of Basement Arcade up right now where Ben Magnet talks to Cindy Jacks. That episode is up in audio and video format. There's Basement Arcade. Sorry, that was Basement Arcade pause menu. So Basement Arcade, there was Phasmophobia. There's more episodes coming soon. Sparks and I just did a fun game that should be fun. A couple of weeks should have that up. Then there's Fake Nerd Book Club, which is currently on hiatus. Hopefully get that up soon. Get a new episode up soon. Then there's quickly, what other shows do I have? Animation Station. Animation Station has the most recent episode, which was Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom, the third part of the Transformers War for Cybertron Netflix anime series. Check out what we had to talk about with that. A lot of animation going on our channel. And of course, the Fake Nerd podcast. Oh, I have Conversation. I want both of you on it, by the way, eventually. Conversation is my talk podcast where I talk to podcasters about fandom. It's been a great time. I just recorded a new episode up. A new episode will be coming out next week. My last episode was from the Up From the Depths YouTube channel where I talked to Brandon Jacobs. All right. And then now we have the Fake Nerd podcast. The Fake Nerd podcast is the overarching mothership podcast where we do news, reviews, all sorts of things. We're doing Free Guy this weekend. That should be either coming out or already out by the time you watch this. We're reviewing Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds' new horribly marketed movie. So stay tuned for that. That goes live every Sunday. And that's it. All the Fake Nerd
you got a lot of free
socials.
time, Brandon. I'm sure you could fit some more shows in there.
Let me see what other shows we're actually planning. Yeah, that's all we got so far. Dude. I almost started an 8th podcast.
God, I feel so lazy right now.
You and me both. I'm like,
look, we just like doing things, guys.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's really not easy. I don't recommend it.
I am not saying it is easy at all. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, you guys are awesome.
I appreciate it.
A week is tough, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And we put up 3 episodes a week of different podcasts and whatnot, but we love it. We love doing it. We want to do more of it. So follow us on all the social medias on Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. We have a Patreon. We have a TeePublic. A lot of cool shirts up on TeePublic. Our Patreon's got an exclusive shirt. I don't actually talk about this often. Our Patreon is an exclusive shirt. For only a couple more months, you can get our Don't Be a Dick Looney Tunes t-shirt. So, subscribe. That's a $10 tier. Cool. I'm a BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Mike, where can I find you?
Downright Nerdy Podcast on all your social media platforms and on YouTube.
Cookie?
Just a little podcast.
All right. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to all these channels. These guys' channels as well. And until next time we see us, stay fake nerds.